What's going on? A to Z Sports. Sam Phelan here with you to talk a little bit of Shedeur Sanders. That's right, because later today I am heading down to Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine in 2025, and all eyes are on the Tennessee Titans, and all eyes very specifically on quarterbacks Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Everybody has a different opinion about where the Titans should go with the number one overall pick. Some people love Shedeur Sanders. I am one of the people very firmly into Sanders' camp. Others prefer Cam Ward. Some think both quarterbacks are going to be great. Others think neither quarterback is going to be great and just do not believe in this draft class as a whole. What should the Titans do? Should they take a QB? Should they take Abdul Carter? Should they try to trade the pick? There's a lot of options still on the table. And we have an update from Shedeur Sanders about what he will or won't do, living up to a few challenges that were put out to him at the NFL Combine. Going to tell you guys a little bit about it, why I'm not freaking out about the latest Shedeur Sanders update, and going to actually use some quotes from Titans head coach Brian Callahan that he said this time last year to, calm some people down just a little bit. Before we get into it, I want to tell you all that today's edition of Titans Offseason Talk is brought to you by Lipscomb University and the Lipscomb Sport Analytics Department. Lipscomb is where data meets the game. You can analyze, strategize, and revolutionize by turning your passion for sports into a profession in sports, going beyond the box score. So get off the sidelines, get into the action with Lipscomb Sport Analytics Department, and their program is where you will learn to make the calls that count. Lipscomb Sport Analytics program is turning sports fans into data-driven decision makers in the exciting world of professional athletics. I'm a Lipscomb alumni myself. It's my alma mater. They helped me, given their faculty, given the great curriculum, given their connections in the Nashville area. They helped me turn my passion for sports into a profession in sports, and they can do the same for you, because at Lipscomb, they're not just watching the game, they're changing how it's played. Go check them out, Lipscomb University. All right, let's talk Shedeur Sanders. This is the update. Had people all up in arms from Ian Rappaport earlier this weekend. His Colorado QB and potential top pick, Shedeur Sanders plans to focus on his interviews with teams at the NFL Scouting Combine, helping them continue to learn him as a person. He'll allow his 4 years of film to speak loudly, then throw at his pro day with 4 draftable CU wide receivers. Now, this from Ian Rappaport is a nice way of saying, Shedeur Sanders isn't throwing at the NFL Combine. He is opting not to work out for teams at the Combine. He is going to throw at his pro day where he is comfortable with his Colorado wide receivers that he has grown with. As far as watching him throw is concerned, well, go check him out at his pro day or check the film. He has 4 years of college tape that you can go watch to make your assessment on him. He is not going to do that this week. He is focusing primarily on his interviews this week. So I've talked about this a little bit because this is a topic of conversation about Sanders and Ward. You got 2 quarterbacks vying for the number 1 overall pick. Who should go before the other one? You've got people with mixed opinions. And there was recently a challenge issued by ESPN's Louis Riddick, where he said, he wants to see QB Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward throw at the Scouting Combine. He threw Tyler Shuck in there as well. Says they will be in the same group, all throwing to receivers that they aren't familiar with. It allows the cream to rise to the top. Great QBs get on the same page fastest with unfamiliar receivers. It needs to happen. So for Louis Riddick, it is a way of determining who the cream of this QB class is. Whoever throws the best at the combine, whoever gets on the same page with new wide receivers fastest. I think that's baloney. I think it's garbage because let's be real. You're throwing against air. You're not even throwing against a defense. So anything that, sure, hey, Shedeur Sanders is going to throw. Maybe he throws really accurate passes. That doesn't matter. It doesn't actually translate. We know this by now. We've seen Zach Wilson go to the NFL Combine and shine and dazzle with his arm, and it doesn't translate. The best barometer is going to be film. And if you need to watch Shedeur Sanders' arm strength or accuracy in person, you can go do it at his pro day. So I've got a couple of different reasons why this is the right call for Shedeur Sanders not to throw at the combine. Number one, you've got a lot to lose, and this is not where you will look best. Shedeur Sanders is not a looks good in underwear throwing to guys on a field without pads, without a live defense. We know that the knock on him as a prospect is his physical limitations, his lack of tools. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the fastest quarterback. He doesn't improvise and throw off balance and throw from different arm angles. The combine is not a place where Shedeur Sanders shines. Standing back, taking a 2-step, 3-step drop, firing an accurate pass over the middle to a guy who's not being defended impresses nobody. But that's what Sanders does very well. The thing with Sanders, he can also do that against the live defense. He can pick you apart. And that's not something that is at the combine. So I think it makes a lot more sense. Where he's able to shine at the combine is in his interviews, is in his meetings with teams. So focusing on that, making that his preliminary focus of the week, I think totally checks out. Let's also talk about the fact that he just doesn't need to do this because he's one of the best two quarterbacks in the class. No matter how you feel about Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward or the class as a whole, there is nobody else in the QB2 conversation. I don't want to hear about Jackson Dart. It is Ward, Sanders, Sanders, and Ward in some order. Okay? And when you're the top guy or one of the top guys, you don't need to prove yourself. We saw this last year. Here's a quote from Brian Callahan last year at the NFL Combine. Quote, "I think you're seeing players become more empowered and understanding that they have leverage. They have the ability, if you're in a position like Marvin Harrison Jr., that's who he's talking about here, you don't have to do all this. Everyone knows his talent speaks for itself. There's a lot of guys that have to do this, and it does matter. I don't want to lessen the importance of what it means for a lot of other guys, but there's probably 4 to 5 guys a year that can do what Harrison is doing." That is Brian Callahan siding with players who opt out of working out at the NFL Combine. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, all opted out of throwing at the 2024 Combine. Why? Because they didn't need to. They were the slam dunk top quarterbacks in the draft, and it didn't hurt their draft stock. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors opted out. Rome Odunze had the entire stage to himself. He looked very good, and he was still drafted after both Harrison and Neighbors. J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, Michael Penix all threw at the combine because they all had something to gain. I remember watching Bo Nix and Michael Penix at the Senior Bowl last year, wondering if either one of them was going to establish themselves as a first-round talent. They seemed like day 2 quarterback options. But because Bo Nix and Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy all looked good, they helped themselves with their stock at the combine. They all worked their way into the first round. It worked out. But you don't need to do this, and we need to stop pretending like we need guys to do this. Brian Callahan just said it himself. I wonder, maybe he's, I'm going to ask him about it at the combine, talk to him a little bit about those comments last year, how he feels like guys don't need to actually do this if there's some of the top choices, and how maybe he views it differently this year now that he is the team with the number 1 overall pick trying to decipher between multiple options. But this is not going to hurt Shedeur's draft stock. If he was going to fall in the draft, he was going to fall in the draft. If he was going to go number 1, he's still going to go number 1. That I have full confidence in. So it will be interesting to hear Brian Callahan's comments. Will be interesting to, hear from Shedeur Sanders on the matter. I'm assuming that he is going to still speak to media. All of those other quarterbacks who did not throw last year did still speak to the media. But this is not a big deal. The Titans won't get to watch QB Shedeur Sanders throw at the NFL Combine, and it's fine because they will in the very near future, and it's not going to impact their evaluation at all. That's all for me. Keep it locked here on A to Z Sports. I'm going down to Indianapolis for the NFL Combine just later today. So all throughout the week, if you're needing NFL Combine content, if you want to know what's going on, what Brian Callahan and Mike Borgonzi are saying, A to Z Sports has you covered. I'll speak to the GM and the head coach tomorrow, get more insight about the future of the Titans franchise and the #1 overall pick. Till next time, tighten up. We'll see you later.